We had the Klarnas, we've had the IBMs, and they're like the rehire stories now. And then most recently, of course, we've had Jack Dorsey's Block cut 40% of its workforce. And of course, they've called it an AI transformation. Want to take a look at that today. JPMorgan Chase, obviously monster AI leader, their operations team now handling 6% more accounts per person. Fraud costs down 11%, and Jamie Dimon says they are just getting started. I'm going to cover BNY Mellon, America's oldest bank. $550 million in efficiency savings. Every single employee is now using AI. Also, they say, Goldman Sachs, an AI software engineer, has just been deployed across 12,000 developers over at Goldman's, projecting 3 to 4 times productivity gains. I guess treating AI software engineer as a new hire, almost. You've got Meta, the first major company to tie performance reviews into AI usage. Use AI, get paid more, and don't. And I guess that's a conversation within your 360 appraisals process. We've got IRS, Internal Revenue System, for those in the UK. Over in the USA, cut the time to open a tax court case from 10 days to 30 minutes. We've got Salesforce to thank for that, I think, actually. We'll get into that. But let's get into the number one story today, and that's about Jack Dorsey's Block. You may have seen this announced on February the 26th that they were going to cut 40% of their workforce. And so should we call it they've cut the workforce in half? Should we just call it that? It doesn't get much more extreme than that, does it? And it's like a provocative story in enterprise AI. But now, the reason I wanted to cover it now is it's like some of those employees who have been laid off are now talking, right? So I was reading some really interesting anonymized interviews with them. But yeah, Block, Jack Dorsey's fintech company, Cash App, Square, all those types of names, lots of investments in crypto. And in late February, they announced they were cutting over 4,000 jobs, taking their headcount from more than 10,000 down to, I don't know, around 6,000, like 40% of the company gone. And let me read directly Jack Dorsey's explanation. So I quote, "A significantly smaller team using the tools we're building can do more and do it better." So he also said, "I'd rather get there honestly and on our own terms than be forced into it reactively." Yeah, so 40% workforce reduction framed as a deliberate strategic move towards an AI-powered future. And the stock jumped 22% on the announcements. But I looked at the charts, and I don't follow Block like religiously, but I do follow crypto, and crypto's not so great at the moment, right? Since October, really been hit hard. Block stock had already fallen 40% in the year before the announcement. So 6 months before the cuts, Dorsey threw a $68 million company festival for the workforce he was about to cut in half. And at that point, their stock was tanking, right? Former head of communications later wrote in the New York Times that the cuts looked, and I'm paraphrasing here, like standard cost management dressed up in a technology story. So it's really interesting then these different perspectives come out. So the markets get excited. Hey, let's go and invest in Block because they're going to be so much more of a high performance earnings device for us to be invested in. And then you've got people like Zachary Gunn, analyst at Financial Technology Partners, and he was pretty blunt. He said this is more about the business being bloated for so long than it is about AI. And there's a phrase for this now, and that's AI washing, where companies use AI as the narrative wrapper for decisions they were just going to make anyway. So you got to be a little bit careful on this. I was on, where am I? I was on where did I see this? On the Guardian.com website. Current and former Block workers say AI can't do their jobs after Jack Dorsey's mass layoffs. And this anonymized, so who knows, right? But the Guardian's fairly reputable. As I don't really like any of these big media companies, but you'd just have to say they don't run stories necessarily without anything behind them. And yeah, it's all saying about this fintech company's extravagant anniversary party last September. I'd like to have gone to that. Sounds great. So as executives led a presentation on the productivity benefits of the new internal AI tool, Mark, who worked in the product department, discussed his worries with his colleagues. Yeah, probably with like a nice cocktail in his hand or something. Yeah, he said he wasn't sure what would happen in a few years. He had told a co-worker sitting next to him that for now, there was no way the technology was so advanced that it could move the business forward without employees like him to drive the vision and strategy. The AI tools were not proactive. He had to tell them what to do. Block still needed him, he thought. You really can't AI that, he told The Guardian, adding, after all, an employee is more than just a series of tasks. There is actually a whole interview with Jack Dorsey on Wired. I'm not going to go through all of that now. I'll put that in the show notes for you so you can go check that out if you want to get deeper into it. But I think this has got all the hallmarks of hey, we're going to rehire, we're going to bring some people back. Could be wrong. I wasn't wrong about Klarna. I wasn't wrong about IBM. Like I said many times before on this show, these companies, the older, more established companies than Block, to be fair, they've been having a go at reducing headcount for years, right? It's nothing new. That said, do I now think there is this moment where you see this decoupling between, say, GDP growth in the US, which would normally be coupled with jobs growth, right? Do I think you're going to see the decoupling of, hey, we're getting more growth, but less jobs being created? Yeah, I think we might be on the cusp of that, which is a bit scary, but hey, it's much better to know about this change up front. I think from my kind of simple perspective, that's the key data point, is jobs numbers decoupling from GDP kind of quarterly growth. But look, let's see. So that's Block. Getting all the headlines linked in the show notes. Next story. Where was I going to go next? Yeah, JPMorgan Chase. Yeah, leaders in AI, right? Their AI budget per annum is just phenomenal. And yeah, I was just taking a look at it and I was like, so where is this going to now logically start impacting on job roles? And they announced, I think it was in their earnings, yeah, it was a company update I was just reviewing from a couple of weeks ago, so this is really quite new, that their operations teams are handling 6% more accounts per employee. So not dramatic growth, but that is a shift, isn't it? And so because finance is where AI is producing some actual measurable and most scrutinized results anywhere in the economy, right? We had the wonderful Alexandra Musavizadeh from Evident on the podcast last year. She does all the benchmarking for major financial companies about where they are in terms of their AI strategies and delivering against those strategies. So they're highly scrutinized. So I think that's a good place to look for where things are going to come down the line to like the more regular companies. But yeah, on February 23rd, JPMorgan Chase held a company update. And here is what Jamie Dimon and CFO Jeremy Barnum put on the record. The operations teams are now handling 6% more accounts per employee. Fraud-related costs per unit are down 11%. So that's costs per unit, down 11%, quite a big number. Software engineer productivity is up 10%. Again, are these plucked out of thin air? I don't think they are. I think they have a much better handle on measuring these types of outcomes within their business. Like I say, they've been going after these job roles and after these productivity gains and efficiencies for a very long time. They've also had like machine learning and AI deployed in their bank for probably 20 years. So it's just accelerated with generative AI. But yeah, they've got 200,000 employees, and roughly half the firm are now on JPMorgan's internal AI platform called LLM Suite, and they're using that every single day. Again, another marker if you're introducing AI into your business is before you even get near to are we getting productivity gains, increasing the metrics that we want to increase, are our employees actually using it? Whole bunch of tools out there to measure usage. Yeah, so that's the upstream that has to be there if you're going to get the downstream benefit, right? If no one's using it, then forget it. LLM Suite being used by roughly half the overall employee count, so that's 100,000 employees. This year, they're doubling the number of generative AI use cases in production. Really interesting that. Not pilots, it's about getting stuff into production for them. So this isn't a press release about a pilot, and we've seen lots of press releases about pilots, haven't we? That's not really what I'm interested in reporting on for you wonderful people listening to this. I want production use cases and to assess, did they deliver the business outcome or not? Yeah, JP Morgan, they're handling what, $20 billion annual technology budgets. It's just phenomenal. And so, yeah, they're going to start with that sort of budget. When you spending $20 billion a year, you are going to be reporting hard operational numbers on an earnings call. So I think it's worth paying attention to. What else was significant that I found was it's like the framing. Jamie Dimon doesn't oversell. He was explicit. He said some AI benefits are revenue enhancements, some are cost avoidance, some are risk and fraud. And that is the language of a company that's been doing this kind of long enough to know it's complicated. So I thought he was very measured on that call. And JPM have been building AI infrastructure for well over a decade. And so the results you're seeing now are a 10-year compounding story. So it's not like they just had that ChatGPT moment. Very different business. So I thought that was really interesting. Wanted to bring that to you today. And then similarly, BNY Mellon. Yeah, that was interesting. I love the way America's oldest bank. BNY is always referred to as America's oldest bank. I think we might have a few banks in the UK that are a bit older than that. But anyway, they generated $550 million in savings by putting every employee on AI. That is a bold statement. Yeah, BNY founded in like 1780 or something by a guy called Alexander Hamilton. And it's therefore the oldest bank in the USA. And in 2026, they did their earnings. It was earnings season for the banks. And they said that they had $550 million in efficiency savings, 160 enterprise AI solutions in production. Let me just say that again. 160 enterprise AI solutions, not pilot, in production. Wow. And then 134 digital employees. So 134 AI agents live and actively working. Unit cost for key operational processes down 24% year on year, and 100% of the workforce on its AI platform. Again, they will be measuring it. Neat that you've got 34 digital employees actively working, and then 24% down on key operational processes. I would love to see the data points underpinning that. Again, they're reporting it, so can't be a million miles off the truth, and most businesses would like that outcome, wouldn't they? Where do you achieve that? Cost savings. You've got to save costs on supply chain or your people. So yeah, but that last number, let me just get me to the right place here. The last number on 100% of the workforce on its AI platform, it's not 80%, like not the enthusiastic people, the early adopters. No, it's every single employee. Platform is called Eliza, named, by the way, after Elizabeth Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton, the founder's wife. And models from OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic wrapped in BNY's own governance framework. Yeah, that's a beast of a model, that, isn't it? So they've got the brain coming from OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic at the same time. So it's not like one chatbot, is it? It's like a marketplace for AI solutions. Again, you gotta have some serious budget to be doing anything like that, especially at that scale. But look, it's where the employees go to access tools and build their own AI agents for specific tasks. Now, I love that. I think that is a really great thing for all enterprise companies to aspire to, right? Just go build your own agent, delegate, go just get it done. And BNY, of course, wrapped it within their governance frameworks. You've got all the guardrails or keeping everything safe for them as a business. Where are we? CEO Robin Vince on the earnings call said, Eliza has unlocked capacity for our people, allowing them to focus on higher value work. Amen to that. That's what AI should be doing, releasing all the drudge work from you to go focus on the high value processes and tasks and workflows. But yeah, CNBC ran a feature on this in Feb, and thousands of BNY staff have completed multi-day AI boot camps, non-engineers learning to build agents, finding creative ways to automate parts of their own jobs. I like that. You do think it's like the guy from Block, isn't it, saying, oh, yeah, it all started when we were being asked by Jack Dorsey and the team to start using AI. What could we automate about our job roles? And so it's like probably the thin end of the wedge, isn't it? But it does suggest that if you are going to be an employee, you've got to be strategic as an employee and doing high value stuff. I know the concern is that there's going to be no entry level jobs. I think that these companies will need to find a way to bring in entry level to get them up to the kind of higher value level that Robin Vince refers to there. But anyway, nonetheless, $550 million in savings speaks for itself, doesn't it? 24% in reduction in unit costs is arguably, the more kind of durable number, because that's structural. That doesn't reverse when the market turns. So very interesting. Again, link, go check out the earnings call. I'm a bit of a nerd like that. I do like an earnings call. So I listen to lots and lots of them. And similar to that, this is this wasn't earnings. This is Goldman Sachs. They were talking to CNBC last year. So the CIO, Marco Agenti, again, go follow him. He's pretty outspoken, and he was talking about deploying AI software in AI software engineer across its 12,000 strong dev team. He was talking about that last year, and then I saw him when they were testing it, and Goldman's don't really do stuff quietly. And then I saw that Marco had been out again and said they're just deploying the AI software engineer now. They've called it Devin, built by a company called Cognition. I need to go check that out. I don't actually know why it's called Devin. Did I have that up here somewhere? Ooh, I'm not sure. But yeah, cool, Devin. Cognition, yeah, really cool. I might reach out to them, actually, see if I can get them on the podcast. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? And yeah, they've rolled it out. So, right, Devin doesn't just suggest code. You know how like Claude or any of these platforms will suggest code for you to use. It actually receives an engineering ticket, reads the code base, identifies dependencies, proposes a solution, writes the code, tests it in a sandbox environment, and then submits production-ready work. So, yeah, serious piece of kit, that, isn't it? And then, of course, a human engineer reviews it, but talking about getting efficiency into that workflow, the entire development process happens autonomously. Wow. So Goldman's, they already use AI coding copilots, and they report 20% boost in developer speed for smaller tasks. And with Devin, internal estimates point to 3-4 times the productivity on more complex workflows. Yeah, of course it would. So yeah, you're not going to throw that at the simple stuff, are you? Where's my quote from Marco Argenti? Here we go. Perfect name, isn't it, for this day and age? He said, it's really about people and AIs working side by side. Engineers are going to be expected to just describe problems in a coherent way, turn them into prompts, and supervise the work of those agents. Yeah, vibe coding, as we've covered a bunch of times now on the podcast. So hundreds of Devin instances are already up and running, and their plan, of course, is to scale to thousands. One important flag, the 3 to 4 times productivity figure is an internal projection, not an independently audited outcome. I guess it's fair enough. Goldman is at the beginning of this deployment, right? It's not, they're not at the end of it, and it's just going to snowball throughout the organization. But Goldman Sachs doesn't make kind of public statements about technology initiatives without a high degree of internal conviction. Yeah, that one is worth tracking closely, which I shall do for you. So that's enough. That's enough of investment banks for fintechs, I think. So let's head on over to take a look at Meta. Yeah, this caught my eye. This did. being someone who's been through multiple performance reviews, 360 reviews over my career, and have to take my teams through performance reviews. So Meta, I think they're the first major company to now tie performance reviews directly to AI usage. So if that's not shifting the workforce to start using the AI, thin end of the wedge, I don't know what is. So yeah, February 2026, Meta quietly did something no major company had done before. They made AI usage a formal performance metric. Again, anyone who works for Meta, there are a few people actually in the audience, do let me know. But I saw this reported in Bloomberg, so I assume there's a kernel of truth underpinning this story. But from engineers to marketers within Meta, yeah, every employee is now evaluated on what the company calls AI-driven impact. So it's not optional. It's not a nice to have. It's a core component of your performance review if you work for Meta. Yeah, it's Meta, isn't it? Yeah, I don't see how you could argue against that as a concept. I guess it's like how they actually execute on that concept internally. But allegedly managers are now asking, how effectively are you using AI to accelerate your work? Are you shipping faster? Are you writing better code? So using AI to do things that were previously have taken a team, I guess they're looking to check that an individual is now executing what it used to take a team to do. So head of people, Janelle Gale, puts it plainly. She said, as we move toward an AI native future, we want to recognize people who are helping us get there faster. So yeah, I actually just followed Janelle on LinkedIn. I might drop her a little message, but yeah, fair enough. Can't really argue with it when it's Meta, can you? High performers using AI effectively, they can actually earn bonuses of up to 200%, as reported by Bloomberg. Yeah, it plays into what we've talked about for quite some time, isn't it? When it actually comes to moving pilots into production, and adoption is often the hardest part of enterprise AI. Just fact. You can buy all the licenses going, you can run every training session, and if the incentive structure doesn't change, a lot of people will keep doing what they've always done, right? And a lot of people are like, hey, this is the thin end of the wedge. I don't want to use AI. I don't want to train AI how to do my job. Thank you very much. And I've definitely got some sympathy with that perspective, but it's the way it's going. Personally, I'm more on the let's move to the higher value work and try and demonstrate that AI is picking up all the drudge work that we used to do. But yeah, AI adoption is super, super hard. So Meta has solved that problem, obviously, with the most direct lever available, which is its workers' paychecks. So there we go, jobs impact. And just so we're not leaving out public sector. So yeah, the IRS cut the time to open a tax court case from 10 days to 30 minutes. Thank goodness for that, I hear you all cheer. In late 2025, the IRS's Office of the Chief Counsel deployed AI agents to handle one of its most administratively painful processes, opening tax court cases. Previously 10 days, now down to 30 minutes. This is, it's not a marginal improvement, is it? That's 20 times compression of a core legal workflow. Let's see how this one works out. The agents automated up to 98% of the manual activities involved. 98% of the manual activities involved in opening a case were automated. One division alone is saving an estimated 500,000 minutes a year, and they're retiring multiple legacy systems in the process. Look, that's no bad thing, is it? Look, what public sector is not full of legacy systems, certainly in the West. And I guess what the IRS story illustrates, that this is the thing that should land for everyone in government, legal or compliance, that, the bottleneck in many of these environments is not like a capability, it's a documentation and process gap. It's the workflow. So once you map the workflow and deploy agents against it, the gains apparently can be extraordinary. So yeah, 10 days to 30 minutes are definitely going to keep track of that one. Some of these numbers I do find, when I hear 98%, how many times over the years have we heard these huge percentages don't ever get really banked and delivered? But that should actually give back to the US taxpayer a nice refund, because they shouldn't be spending so much money over at the IRS. Their budget should be cut, perhaps. But there we go. What have we covered today? Oldest bank in America, making huge savings, government agencies just starting to move fast. And what's behind all of it is a labour market that is quietly and not so quietly changing shape. And so that decoupling of labour and growth, it's going to be really interesting to track those numbers as we go through 2026. So yeah, it's happening, guys. We need to know all about it, keep track of it. So I hope you've got value from this episode. Lots of stories covered on all the source articles. Just head to the show notes. There's lots there to go back to. And yeah, I think I'm gonna push out my first podcast newsletter this week as well. So if you want that, I'll put a link to head on over to my website to sign up for that, bendrakes.com. So thank you for listening. See you on the next one. Bye.